Morning. I'm not going to do that weird thing where like influencers like set up their camera. Have you seen this? So they like set up their camera like this and then they go back into bed. Is it tracking? I don't know. This is what it must look like behind the scenes. Set the camera. Morning. As if the camera was there all along. This week I really wanted to talk more about us as a home ed family. Before we home educated our children, I thought that people that home educated were weird, and that sounds awful now because we're home educating and I get it. I guess it wasn't until I tried to put our children into school that I was like, oh, I get it. And here we are, home educating. We are 12 months in now. Just for reference, in case you don't know us, we've got a 4 and 6-year-old. I keep saying going to say 5, but he's not 5 anymore, he's 6. So if they was to be in school, my son would have been in year 1, just starting, and my daughter would have just been starting reception. My son did go to school, I think it was like 6 or 8 weeks, and my daughter has never been to school. They both used to go to nursery, so they used to go to nursery like 2.5 days a week, and now they don't. I always get lots of questions about home ed, like what is home ed, what do you do all day, how do you know how to teach them? Obviously I'm not an expert on this, but I'm just going to tell you what our week looks like, the financial cost of it, because it would be wrong for me to assume that everybody could afford to do this. I mean, you can spend as much as you like on clubs and resources, like it's not that there's a massive financial strain, because that's not expected. You don't have to do any of those things. You could teach them all yourself for nothing if you wanted to, and there's lots of free resources out there. The biggest financial strain would be on your time. Like, you'd have to give up your time to look after them. Instead of them being in school 6 hours a day for you to work, you would need to be either looking after them yourself or arranging childcare. We don't get any help from the government with any of that. It's all on us. So yeah, I thought we could kind of go through why we wanted to home educate, the benefits, the negatives, and what it kind of looks like, and also like our long-term plan with it and why we wanted to do it. Every day, sprinkle party. I love Gabby's dollhouse. It's such bangers. Tell Mummy, what is one thing that you like about doing home educating? Letters.
And numbers.
And numbers. You love numbers, don't you? We like to do lots of science, don't we?
Yeah, I got loads of science experiments.
The Earth. We like to learn a lot about the Earth.
I don't know much about its like sections. You know, like there's 4 layers. Well, I know what the 4th layer is made up of. Tectonic plates.
Tectonic plates. You tell me what you like learning about, and that's what we learn about, isn't it? I'm super proud of you. What is the biggest volcano on Earth? Do we know?
Is it the one?
I thought it was Mount Fuji.
I don't think it is Mount Fuji. It's Mount Everest!
Mount Everest?
Oh yeah, that's not even a volcano. That's a mountain.
This volcano on Earth is Mauna Loa?
Mauna Loa?
Is that how you say it? It's the largest active volcano on Earth. It's in Hawaii.
Oh, I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. I was about to guess it was in Hawaii.
Mauna Loa. Where's the biggest volcano in our solar system?
On Mars.
And what's it called?
Olympus Mons.
Olympus Mons. This stuff, Glotion from L'Oreal, it's quite cheap. I used to wear foundation every day. Now I just put a bit of this on. It's got like a bit of a tint to it. What's it actually called? Natural Glow Enhancer. So I just put a bit of that on all over my face. It just like smooths your skin out without foundation on. So nice for holidays. Like, you know, you just want to give yourself a bit of a lift in the morning, but you don't want to put like a heavy face of makeup on. So I always put that on as a base now. Love it. Obsessed. I've been wanting to film this video all morning, but the children keep interrupting me, and they're going out now. So I'm like sitting here. You know how long it takes to get them out of the house? You don't put your shoes on, get in the car, go. They've been putting their shoes on for the last like 5 minutes. We're going to catch up in a minute. Right, they have gone. So hopefully my brain can now concentrate on this. So, home ed, where to begin? So as I said, my son did go to school for a short time. My daughter started at the school nursery and that was the plan, like they were going to school. There was no, we'd never considered home ed, I'd never looked into it. I just assumed it was quite a strange thing to do, to not put your children into school. Didn't get it. Which I think maybe comes down to that not many people talk about it, because there is this like fear of judgment, like you're swimming against the tide. No one else is doing this really. Nobody else in my family has done it. None of my friends have done it. So it does feel strange. It does feel weird. So I'm hoping that this video might help it feel less weird and kind of give you an insight into why I want to do it. And now that I'm doing it, I just totally get it. I see all of the benefits of it. I could not imagine us doing it any different. Like, it so works for our family and our children. That is not to say that I think that school is awful or it's, I don't know, like, I'm not anti-school. Obviously I was going to send my children to school, like, well, I did send my children to school. I'm not anti-school. I think that some children really thrive at school. The teachers are brilliant. I always wanted to parent the children that I have in front of me. So if they'd have gone to school and they'd have thrived there and they were doing amazing and they were really happy, like, cool, they'd have stayed in school. But when they started school and my daughter started the new nursery, like, we soon just started seeing signs of like anxiety in them both. And I hated that. Like, they'd come home from school and they were both exhausted and so overstimulated. Like, they'd been bottling in all of their emotions all day and it would just come out at home as soon as they got back. I could just see that they were just really struggling and they weren't learning to their full potential because they were so stressed in that environment. Now, both of my children are like really bright. Like, that's not me being like a braggy parent, like, they always just have been. I am really inquisitive and naturally I love learning. Like, when I had the children, I just went and did an open university degree in sociology just to scratch my brain. So I think that they've just kind of like inherited that natural innate to be like, question the world around you and want to understand everything in real depth and detail. That I see that in both of them, and I knew that they had the potential to be really high achievers at school. But it just felt to me that the environment was going to impact their mental health and stop them from achieving what they could achieve. We'd thought about skipping reception anyway, because I'd kind of, well, it was more my idea, Matt didn't want to do it. But I was like, why don't we just skip reception? They could start a bit later. Because a lot of European schools don't start until the children are like 7. Obviously in the UK, you can start from like age to 4 in reception. And that just seems really young to me for them to go somewhere for 6 hours every day. Obviously they'd never done full-time nursery either, so that was going to be a massive jump for them. So I was going to just skip reception, and when we first deregistered, we kind of just said, look, let's do a year and then we can reevaluate next year, because school is an opt-in system. So when you apply for their place, you are opting them into the education system, and when you take them out, you can always put them back in. So if it didn't work out, we could always apply for another school place and they could join the school. That kind of made me feel better, because I was like, if it doesn't work out, like if we're struggling, if it's not what we thought it's going to be, we can put them back into school, and you can at any point. Obviously 12 months has come round, my daughter hasn't started school and we haven't put him back into school. But I guess it's never to say never. Like, I never know what's going to change, like if they stop enjoying it, if we stop enjoying it, or if we don't feel like it's like the best thing for them anymore, like they might go back to school. And I'm comforted by the fact that they could go back to school. Rewind, we started home educating. I didn't really know anything about it. I had a total panic and thought, right, I need to like replicate like the school day, like we need a timetable. I like transformed one of the rooms downstairs into like a classroom. We had like seats, somewhere for me to sit, whiteboards. I ordered all of the little Wandle phonics stuff that they were doing at school. We were doing a sound a day. It was like I was trying to create like school at home, and that is not what home educating looks like, or doesn't have to look like. If you wanted it to look like that, then that's fine, but it doesn't have to look like a school day. Then I started going to more groups and meetups. You can meet so many people like doing home educating in the local area through Facebook. It's such a good platform to meet people. There's loads of local groups, and like there'll be groups for like your county, so there'll be like, for us it's like Worcestershire. I started going to those and I was like to parents, you know, what does your day look like? When I started speaking to parents that have been doing this longer, they kind of made me realise that learning can happen anywhere. You don't have to be sat at a desk. It doesn't have to look like the school day. I guess that's when I realised that my main goal is to protect the children's love of learning. Like, that is why I want to home educate them. I don't want them to start resenting learning because they're having to learn things that they're not interested in. So obviously the primary curriculum focuses heavily on letting them learn to read and write, and that is important to me. And obviously number skills are also really important to me, but I want them to learn number skills in real life as well as the theory. I guess like the core curriculum that we follow, I always do this, apparently Matt said, by the way, so sorry about that. So yeah, the core things that we cover are learning to read and write and learning basic maths skills. Like, that's like our non-negotiables of what we need to learn. To do that, we do have a tutor for the children. So they go a couple of days a week and have one-to-one lessons with a primary school teacher where she will progress them. But the beauty of home educating is that they don't have to progress in this little box that is their year group. So my daughter would have been in reception, but she's doing like phase 5 sounds because she's already done like sapping, like what she would have been doing if she was in reception. Like, she's done that. She did that probably last year. She's already taken all of that on. She can blend. She's progressing her at her own rate. And then in maths, she's probably working at what she would be if she was in reception, doing like number bonds and getting a good understanding of numbers between 1 and 10 and how to add and subtract them. So she's doing that because that's where her ability is, not because she is 4 and what she should be doing. My son, he is doing his letters and reading skills probably to what he would be doing if he was in year 1. He's kind of keeping up. English is not his favourite thing, but he has to do it because he needs to learn how to read. So it's a bit of a battle, I can't lie. He doesn't like English, but anyway. Whereas he loves maths. Like, he's got such a natural, strong math brain that he is doing work that he would probably be doing if he was in year 3 or 4. The beauty of it is we can just keep nurturing those points, and we don't have to be like, oh, you can't really do negative numbers at the moment because we don't cover that until year 3 or 4. Like, he's ready for it now, so he can start doing long addition, long subtraction, long multiplication, all of those things that he wouldn't do if he was in his textbook year 1 class. Whilst we do follow the curriculum to a certain degree, we also allow space for them to work at their ability. And if that goes above what is textbook for their age, then that's absolutely fine. Like, I would rather them keep running with something that is going to fuel their self-worth of like, I'm really doing well with this. I'm scratching parts of my brain that I like scratching and I love learning that sort of stuff. So just keep learning it. Like, if you want to learn it, cool, like keep going. Like, that's your natural ability. Keep going, keep expanding that area of your brain, and I will challenge you in areas that you maybe feel a little less confident in and help support you more there. I just wanted to say there is no expectation for you to have a tutor. That is just something that we wanted to give the children and are fortunate enough to be able to afford. Like, it is not a cheap thing, but there's no pressure. Like, there's nothing in the guidelines that say like you must, if you're home educating, you must provide qualified tutors. That's not a thing. Beyond that, we do interest-based learning. So when I say that, I just mean, like, again, it comes back to this, I want to protect their love of learning. To do that, I let them choose what we want to learn about. So they're obviously covering what would be expected in the curriculum, but then above that, we will just focus on, like, what do you want to learn about today? So they love learning about science. They love learning about the world around us, space, dinosaurs, like all of those things. They will like pick those topics, and then for the next few weeks, we kind of go through it together. You don't have to be a teacher and you don't have to know everything. Like, I do not know anything about a sedimentary rock. I cannot remember my geography lessons from when I was at school. So you don't need to be a teacher. They'll ask me stuff that I will not know the answer to, and then we'll go and find out together, whether that's like me researching it and coming back to them, or we'll watch a YouTube video, or we might go to the library and find a book about it, listen to a Yoto card. It kind of all comes together, and I guess we like talking about those topics all the time then. So we might be going for a walk and we might do like a true or false quiz, and we're like testing bits that we do know and bits that we don't. Actually, the research into child development shows that being still is not the best way to learn. So when you attach movement to learning, it actually creates different pathways in your brain and you remember that learning better. So sometimes they might be like jumping on the bed, doing their times tables, but it actually goes into your brain better when you're just moving around. So I don't ever be like, sit down and listen to me, like you need to be paying attention, because often they'll be playing, and when they're playing they're able to like access this part of their brain where they can really store memory. So if they're playing and listening to a Yoto card about volcanoes, like so much of those facts go in and they don't even realise that they're learning. On top of that, I think people's main concern is that they don't socialise, but like we're barely ever at home. As I said, there's loads of groups. So yesterday we went to our like monthly local home ed meetup where they just like we're playing with other children all day, and then they go to loads of different like extracurricular activities like drama, they go to like dancing, loads of different bits and bobs that we do throughout the week. So they've got lots of friends that are also home educated, so they've got that like feeling of belonging to like a group of people as well. I also just want to like challenge your idea and thinking there, because it was something that I worried about, and then somebody said to me like it's actually a really unnatural environment to spend all day with the same 30 people, and those 30 people to be exactly the same age as you. Anyway, I've been bleating on so long that I have filled the memory on my SD card, so I'm just gonna have to finish on my phone. I hope that the quality's not awful. In terms of what we want to do for the future, like I would like to home educate them for the whole thing. They can still sit their GCSEs like any other child. We would need to pay for those, they wouldn't be funded. So yeah, they can sit their GCSEs when they're ready, so if they wanted to do them earlier they can, which is great, because I'm hoping that they maybe be able to do a few when they're younger, so maybe like 14, 15, and then a few more when they're like 15, 16, so that we're spreading them out a little bit as well, just to reduce that like stress around exam time. I was speaking to somebody that's home educating like teenagers the other day, and she was saying like what they do to lead their learning at this age is that they just use GCSE exam papers, and she'll give them a few questions and they'll start answering it, see how far they can get with it, and then that just like shows her where the gaps are in their knowledge, and they kind of reverse engineer the learning based on that. So if they've not been able to answer a question, they can go back, cover the topic, and then they can re-answer the question at the end to test for understanding. So I quite liked that approach, and I think it's always going to be about like figuring it out together. Whether we maybe get more tutors as they get older, that's something that we can look at, but I'm happy to share like bits as we go along. But this is how we're doing it now for primary age children, and just remembering the fact that they're literally 4 and 6. Sorry, 2 more things before I go. First one that I wanted to say about was that there is a difference between saying homeschooling and home educating. So, you know, like in COVID when all of the kids were at home and the teacher sent you work for them to do, or they had to join Zoom lessons with the teacher at school, that was homeschooling, because the child is still registered at a school, the school is still responsible for educating that child, they are just at home whilst they're doing their work. Whereas home educating is when you have deregistered your child from a school and you are taking responsibility for their education as their parent. The school aren't involved, they're not on a register at a school, you are providing that education. I think they use the words interchangeably in America, but in the UK, home educating is what I'm doing, not homeschooling. Number 2 was that the local authority do check in with you. So I sent an email to the school, deregistered my son from the school, and then they obviously let the local authority know that we are home educating now. So they have a department that looks after the children that are home educated, and they get in touch with you once a year. They ask about like what you're up to, what you're doing. They offer you a home visit, which we didn't feel that we needed, so we haven't had a home visit with them. You basically just send them like a little report back to say this is what we're doing, this is what we're learning, and they just sent me an email back saying this sounds great, like we'll check in with you again next year, but they're always there if you want any help or resources. So as a home ed parent, you are expected to provide a full-time education that is to the age and ability of the child. You don't have to follow the national curriculum. It doesn't tell you what like full-time means. It doesn't mean that you have to do it between 9 and 3 Monday to Friday, like you could be doing it on the weekend. You don't always have to be in the UK to do it either, so you don't have to do it in the school terms. Bless you. Yeah, there's no fines if you go on holiday during term time, because you can teach from anywhere in the world. And I think that's like another really big perk for us, because we can learn stuff and then we can go and see it in the world. So the kids are obviously really interested in volcanoes at the moment. I'm pretty sure there's an active volcano or a dormant volcano, but there's something in Lanzarote which I went to as a child. But when I say this out loud, like I really need to look into it before I start preaching that I know everything about it. But you know, we could go there and we could learn so much by looking at it. The same when we went to America, we learned loads of things about the difference between crocodiles and alligators and what is brackish water, loads of different things before we went, loads of things about space. And then we went and we saw it all. We saw the different habitats that these animals are living in. We went to the space centre and like watched a rocket take off. There's so many ways that we use the world to really like solidify learning and gain deeper understanding, and again like just protect this love of learning and asking questions, which is really important to me. I'm pretty sure that was all I wanted to say extra. But if you have any questions about home educating, let me know in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. Yeah, I hope that's been interesting and informative. Okay, bye!